You can private chat. If you feel uncomfortable, you can just privately chat me. I'm not going to call you out, but I'll answer your question as best I can. Okay. So, and if you just want to like raise your hand and say something or ask a question, please don't hesitate. This is like, we're just pretending that we're like all hanging out in my office, in the lobby with our waters and just chatting about stuff that's hard. I was going to say, made me think when JoJo was talking about getting up on stage and being nervous. Sometimes, we can't forget too, that sometimes we're really excited. It could also feel like anxiety. And so it gets kind of confusing sometimes. Yeah. And so I just want you guys to all know that everything, that's all so normal, right? Like you don't get up on stage and perform in front of people all day, every day. And so I just want you guys, number one, just to know that all the feelings that you might have, like there's nothing wrong with any of them. It's just your body telling you, oh, this is kind of scary. This is kind of uncomfortable, but also you have a lot of adrenaline because it's also really fun and really exciting. And so that can sometimes get kind of confusing. But so we're just going to do a few things. I'll talk a little bit, but then I'm going to just shut up and we'll ask some questions, and I might have Malaya help me. So the first thing we wanted to do is define the word anxiety. And in the dictionary, anxiety is defined as an emotion that causes feelings or tension or worried thoughts or physical changes. So I always tell everybody that comes in my office as a counselor, like, this is not one size fits all. Like, I know what the books say about anxiety, but everyone feels it differently. When I get anxious, my heart races. I can feel my heartbeat in my toes. But some other people, they just get really nervous thoughts, or their palms might get really sweaty, or they might feel like they're going to puke, or like they have to go potty, which is also a total normal part of anxiety. So I just want you guys to know that, it's not abnormal to feel different things. Like your buddy might be stressed and she has a tummy ache and you're like, I'm super stressed, but my head hurts, so everybody's body's different. And so that's what's really cool about learning different tips and strategies. You can help each other out, but, and also by teaching each other, oh, like that didn't work for me. What works for you? So it's definitely not one size fits all. Like this is the one thing that you have to do to feel better. So I wanted to tell you guys all that. So here's some other symptoms of anxiety. We were just talking about it. So heart racing, some people get really blurry, like their eyes get really blurry vision. They might get a little dizzy feeling, kind of like they're on a boat. I used to get that a lot when I was little. I was a horseback rider and and a dancer. So anytime I got on stage or even did a show, I would kind of feel wobbly, like I was on a boat. And I learned later, oh, that was my body feeling nervous. So sometimes you might feel that. I said sweaty hands. Sometimes people feel like they have yucky tummy. Sometimes, sometimes you might just feel okay in your body, but your brain is saying things like, I'm going to be horrible. I'm not going to do good. I'm going to embarrass myself. And in your brain, we call it like the runaway train brain. Like it just is going and going and going. And none of those thoughts are helpful, right? None of them are like helping us out. So sometimes people feel totally fine in their bodies, but their brain is going. And we could talk about more of that later. But I think one of the number one things you can do when that happens, honestly, is tell yourself to stop. And sometimes I'll say to people, if you're in class and you're super nervous about a test, you can tell yourself to stop. You don't have to like shout it out loud. But sometimes, like if you're backstage and you're in the restroom by yourself and you're having these weird, thoughts that like, I'm not going to do it, I'm going to forget my lines, I'm going to fall. Just tell yourself, stop, knock it off. It's okay to say that out loud. What's cool about that is it kind of shocks your brain, and your brain's like, oh, what was that? So even if you say it out loud, or you say it to yourself, or you say to one of your buddies, like, my mind is going crazy right now, and it's telling me all these things that I know are not the truth, because I know my lines. I'm going to do the best that I can, even though I'm not perfect. And if you've got a buddy or someone that, you hang out with backstage or at theater practice, like tell me to stop. Just tell my brain to stop, because it's really helpful. And I'll do that. Malay and I do that sometimes with each other. I'll go, stop, knock it off. Like, that's not helping you. It's not easy, you guys. This is not easy. This is like working out and building a muscle. It's not like you just tell yourself to stop and you feel great. But if you practice and practice and practice, and you have people that care about you that also go, well, don't think that right now. Why don't we also think about how fun it's going to be, how you've practiced for 4.5 months, you know your lines. And there's going to be people in the audience that are going to enjoy it no matter what.
I got my Switch charger to his house.
What, honey?
It's okay. I muted him.
Yeah. So let's see. So that's what we wanted to say, that this is not one size fits all. So I don't want you to feel like, I don't have that. So maybe I don't have anxiety. Maybe it's just worry. Maybe you just have performance anxiety. So that was the other thing that Malay and I wanted to kind of define, was performance anxiety and stage fright. So it's still in the same family and world as anxiety and worry, but what would be the difference? The difference would be that you might feel anxious or panicky because of the thought of performing. So that's kind of the definition of performance anxiety. And we have picked out some people, some stars that get stage fright. And maybe you guys, if you know any others, you can say them out loud if you want, but we didn't know if you knew that Adele gets really, 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 really bad stage fright. Sick to her stomach, oftentimes pukes before she gets on stage. And it takes her about an hour, she says, to get comfortable, even though she like belts out a song the first second she's on stage. So she's somebody that talks a lot about stage fright and performance anxiety. Katy Perry also has a lot of stage fright and performance anxiety. Who else, Malaya?
Beyonce,
Taylor Swift,
Harry Styles, which I did not think that would be possible.
Yeah, he talks a lot about getting nervous and getting a lot of anxiety before he gets on stage.
Lady Gaga.
Would really be cool if we had this, but Lady Gaga has somebody that actually gives her a head and neck massage right before she gets on stage and helps her to breathe. And she has little props, which we can show you later. Like sometimes you might want to have like a really yummy essential oil.
I have one on my desk. I'm like,
yeah, you can get it CVS and you smell it. You put it on your wrist.
yeah.
Give it a little smell.
I put it on my forehead.
Little, smells are really great because it also calms your body. Smells that you like. And that's why even like if I'm at work and I have if I have one of my friends coming in for counseling and they're feeling really anxious, we just walk outside. We go sit under a tree and talk, or we'll go sit by the fountain at my office building and just like get some fresh air and smell different things, because distraction is awesome for anxiety. And we were talking about this, Malay and I, a while back when she did Aladdin, because that was like this super big room, right? Lots of stimulation, lots of colors, lots of noise, lots of, things going on in the background. And so she had her best friend, one of her good friends, Leilani, was in that show with her. And I'd said to the girls, this was Leilani's first show, and I said, distract each other. Like, don't just sit backstage and be nervous and anxious. Help each other. Like,
we did,
I don't know.
Handshakes.
We did handshakes. What else did you guys do? Like, fixed each other's costumes.
Water, snacks.
Yeah. Like, maybe someone else.
Go to the bathroom.
Yes. The weird thing about going potty, and I know it's the uncomfortable thing to talk about, but I want you guys to know it's super normal. So a lot of times when you're feeling really anxious or nervous about something, anything, getting on an airplane, taking a test, getting on stage, your body feels like it has to go potty. And that's totally normal. It's like back in the caveman days when we were like being chased by like a wild animal, when we were like way long time ago, our bodies had to get rid of everything inside so that we could run as fast as we could to save ourselves. So it's called, I'm sure you guys have heard of it, like fight or flight response, which means your body just kind of panics. Mm-hmm. And so you might feel like you have to go number 1 or number 2. A lot of times. Or number 3, which happens a lot when we get nervous. Totally normal. That's cool. So if you have to run back into that bathroom 3 or 4 times, that's all right. No one's judging you. Just do it. And if you need to, like, I know we'll maybe sometimes have makeup on, but I think one of the things that works great, splash some cold water on your face. This isn't the right water bottle. I was trying to find like the little sparklets. I think JoJo often has them.
I do.
So I tell kids and in my even grown-up counseling friends, always keep a water bottle like really cold. At home, yeah, you can put it against your face, and at home, Even putting one in the freezer is cool. Like what you can do is you can put it on your inside of your wrists, which slows your heart rate down. Or you can roll it with your feetsies. So like I have some counseling friends that get nervous like at Target. And so I'll say, or Marshall's has that weird flashing lighting. It makes Malaya very anxious. And it also makes me a little anxious and dizzy sometimes at Marshall's. And I'll go, who cares? No one's looking. Take your shoes off and put your feet on the cold ground, even if it's gross, you can wash them later. So like at Target or maybe you're backstage and you know that there's a restroom with cold linoleum, just put your little feetsies on it, because anything that's cold is also something that distracts your brain. So your brain is thinking, I'm super nervous. I'm going to forget my lines. I'm going to puke on stage. I'm going to embarrass myself, whatever it is. We don't need to come up with tons of it. We don't need to give ourselves more. You get a cold water and you're like, okay, I'm going to put this on the back of my neck. I'm going to put this in my wrist. And your brain stops thinking about the anxiety and it goes, whoa, what is that? It's really cold. And just that minute of distraction helps your body feel less anxious, because it's not on that anxious train for a minute. It's like, whoa, what is that? If you're in the car on the way to rehearsal, I'll tell Malaya or different people, like, turn that air conditioning on. Like, turn it on, turn it off, change your radio station 15 times, open your window, close your window, just distract yourself. Just distract yourself, because those things keep your body kind of calm. I'm sure you guys probably also have your own tips, which I want to hear if you're interested in a little while. Did you want to say anything?
Two more people are Eminem and Rihanna.
Oh yeah.
They also have stage fright.
Yeah, Rihanna.
Oh, and also fidgets are really good. Like, me and my friends, we have a bunch of fidgets at school, and we'll put them in our desk or on top of our desk. And even if you want to like talk to your teacher, say like sometimes I get anxiety about things like, can I have this on my desk? And my teacher will say, like, as long as it doesn't distract other people. And you can either like pop it, see pop, or like there's a bunch of cool things you can do.
Yeah. Maybe what we could do is bring some of ours and have a backstage at the theater, and we could have like a little like anxiety toolbox.
That'd be great. Oh, that'd be great. I
Let's
love
do
that idea. And I wanted to talk, I talked about sleep and how important sleep is, but when you're so nervous after tech and you have the show the next day.
Yes.
What are some tips of like
sleeping stuff?
The day before.
Yeah.
Never mind the hour before, the day before.
No, it's so true. And actually we had that written down because there's a few things that I was thinking about that is really important. Sleep is huge, right? I mean, even for me, if I can lose a little bit of sleep a couple of days if we're on vacation or when we had the puppy, but you give me 2 or 3 days without sleep and I start feeling anxious. My body just feels a little nervous and for no reason. So number one, we definitely, no offense, we don't want to be doing sleepovers the weekend of our shows. That was one of the things that we were talking about when we were trying to writing notes. Because I'm a mom. No one sleeps at sleepovers. They're so fun, and that's great. But I wouldn't do it on tech week. I wouldn't do it before the show. Some other things, like it's not the time to like eat a bunch of junk food. Because we eat a bunch of junk food, our body doesn't feel good. Even sugar. I love sugar. But when we eat a lot of sugar, it can make our heart race, can make our tummy feel upset. We get kind of,
you forget your lines.
You can forget your lines because you've got so much like sugar and adrenaline going through your body.
Maybe we don't sell so much candy.
I know. No.
We're moving over to popcorn at this theater. They have popcorn.
Yeah, popcorn is good. So like healthy snacks. But I think too, and I've told Malaya this and some of my other counseling friends, I think too, like the day before the show or the weekend of the show. And I've told Malaya this too, because I've seen her backstage with her lines, holding her lines. And I'm like, I don't know. I think there comes a time where you look at it, but you go, I'm going to relax and try to have fun. I'm going to get my costume. We want our costumes to feel good. We want to feel good in what we're wearing. That's a big one. But like the couple days before the show, like check out your lines, review your lines, but but don't sit there for hours and hours walking around with that, because in my opinion, that can make us more nervous. And it's kind of telling yourself like, I'm not prepared.
Right.
I think there comes a point where you are prepared. So like, eat well, eat healthy. You know, hot teas are awesome. Like JoJo said, like even just holding something warm in your hand or something ice cold feels really good. We do
Or
like
a warm bath. A warm bath puts me to sleep. And I have a cup of tea in the bathtub before a show. That is my advice.
Yeah, if you guys have, like, we don't have them, but a lot of our friends have hot tubs. Like, put some music on, listen, sit in your hot tub. Like, you know, even like watching a funny movie you've seen 100 times that's just relaxing. Because what is that doing? It's distracting your brain.
Yeah.
Right. So what are some other things what do you guys do?
Malin had a question. Malin, question.
I could bring my puppets. I have 2 boxes of them.
Amazing. Well, just make sure to put your name on it so you get them back. So, okay. So here's some other things. We have to practice breathing, right? So, so when our bodies feel nervous or anxious, no matter what, like 99% of the time, we're not breathing normally. We think we are, but we're not. And it doesn't mean like, okay, I need to breathe. Like that doesn't work really well. So one of the things we do is like, you breathe in through your nose.
Smell the flowers.
Smell the flower.
And then blow out the candles.
And in through your nose and out through your mouth.
It really does help.
A lot. And
like,
sometimes I'll say, breathe in the good thoughts, blow out the bad thoughts. And this doesn't mean like when your shoulders are moving, that's not the kind of breathing we want. We want to keep your shoulders down. The only thing that really should move, and it takes practice, especially when you're nervous. When you're nervous and someone says, just breathe. It's not that easy. But you can practice, and you could even practice before you go on stage or this weekend or anytime you want in class. But like your belly should kind of open up like a balloon and then go back down. And so you're just doing belly breathing in through your nose. Good thoughts out through your mouth. That's a good one. And so I know JoJo knows this one. We've talked about this one is box breathing. So does everyone know how to draw a square with their fingers? So I even had a special counseling friend the other day. He told me he's a high schooler and he gets nervous when he's playing basketball. And so he's like, Camille, like I did my box breathing like on my leg when I was waiting to shoot. So we go like, you just draw a square and you're going to go, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. You don't have to draw a square. Like he was saying that he was like doing it on his leg right before he shot, or like if you're at your desk or if you're backstage or wherever. What it does is it kind of reminds you in, out. But any type of breathing is good. We want to breathe. And I like the breathing in the good thoughts. This is going to be so much fun. If I mess up, nobody's going to know, because the audience doesn't know your lines, you guys. Like we don't know your lines. It's one of the things that Malaya, is it okay to say, like it's really nervous about is forgetting your lines. And then the other part is if someone else forgets their lines, and we've talked about this with other friends, then they get really nervous because they're afraid they're going to lose like their whole page of lines. And they're going to be so bummed. So we kind of did some notes with that too, as far as like, obviously the more prepared we are, the less anxious we get, right? Like, so practice with buddies.
And you can mention it to them like, you may like, your line's right there, and then it's my line.
Yeah, well, like we kind of know the scene, right? Even if you forget a line, you kind of know what's happening during the scene. So you can kind of wing it or go forward. We were talking about preparing. We were talking about like if you know what's next, just go ahead and continue on and breathe.
I have a funny story. We were doing the show Clue, and I had an actress. She was so nervous. She went on stage to do her scene in complete darkness. I hadn't turned the lights on yet, but she just wanted to keep going, and she wasn't stopping. And I finally just said, "Hold on, honey, you got no lights on you. Let's start act 2 over, and let's regroup. You tell me when you feel the light on you, then you start." but it's that she was so anxious and she was so
Yeah.
like, when are we going to go? When are we going to go? When are we going to go? I'm just going to go out there and do my lines. And I'm like, whoa, 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 wait,
Yeah.
find the moment. You kind of
Yeah.
cue the stage manager. They have a headset on. They'll tell us to turn the lights on because you're ready. Don't go
Yeah.
out there and be like, I can't breathe. And I know I can't hit my note. Take the breath. You tell the stage manager, okay, I'm ready. And then you
Yeah.
hit your mark.
You
We'll
guys,
follow you.
yeah, take your time. Like you
Yes.
have been practicing this for so long and all these shows and everyone that's coming to see you, you get to do it twice, right? Like I always think like everyone that's coming to see you, they just love you and they are supporting you and they're so excited to watch you. And they don't know when you mess up. So just remember that. But also like take your time because all this practice and all the different rehearsals, you get to do it twice. So it's so true what JoJo said. Like, even when we talk fast, I don't know if you guys ever have like a friend or a teacher that talks fast. I have a friend that talks really fast and I'm like, you're making me nervous. I love you. Slow down. She just does that. And so we can do that to ourselves too, where we're just trying to get through something because we're just so nervous. And remember, like, this is your show. This is not our show. This is your show. Take your time, slow down. If you messed up and you want to say that line again, say it again. Just take your time and enjoy it. No one's perfect. And whether it's school or acting or baseball or anything, sport, like no one expects you to be perfect. JoJo doesn't expect you to be perfect. Your audience doesn't expect you to be perfect. Because one of the things we were talking about earlier is like, why did we get into theater? Like, why did you guys get into theater?
Usually the love of performing. I love to perform, but I suffer from anxiety. So I kind of decided to take a backstage path. But look at me now. Now I'm not so scared, but I'm old. But I'm trying to teach you guys to like not be scared and believe in yourselves and have self-worth, that you are talented. A lot of kids tell me, oh, JoJo, I'm not that good. Don't stick me out there. And they have this fear, especially of singing. And they kind of tell me, oh, I just want to do the straight plays. I don't want to sing. I don't want to be in a musical. I can't dance. Da, 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 da. And I'm always like, gosh, why are you knocking yourself down? You don't believe that. It's all in your head. I would not have cast you if I didn't believe in you.
Totally. And you're not gonna be like everyone else because you're you. And I've told Malia that even as Cinderella with the singing, when we're listening to
all of my Cinderellas, I think, are completely different.
100%. And
different.
So cool, right? Like that's when we were talking about some of the singers and actors and that get performance anxiety. I mean, Beyonce doesn't sing like Adele. That's okay. Beyonce is Beyonce. Adele is Adele. Like we want to do the best we can and, act in a way that our audience like knows what the scene's about and work on our song so that our pitch is certain ways. But we're not going to be like twins. We're not going to sing the same. We're not going to act the same. And that's what's, I think, so neat because it makes you special, and I think that's a big one, in my opinion. I have a lot of counseling friends that come in my office that are in Hey JoJo's theater, and I hear it all the time. Like they kind of judge themselves compared to other actors and actresses. Mm-hmm. I think that's normal. It's natural. You're kind of on Zooms. You're watching other people sing the same song you're singing or do the same lines, and that's totally normal. Yeah, but I feel like you guys have such an amazing group of friends and people that like, I don't think you all are judging each other. I think we're hardest on ourselves. But I think you guys all support each other and you're not going to be the same. You're just not.
It's not. Funny. I had some kids and I always tell them, I said, the only time I have to judge you is at auditions. And it is my hardest job. But I always look at somebody who's really trying. Who's ready to take on the amount to be a lead. And sometimes, kids will come up to me like, I want the lead. And then they get the lead and they go, I don't know if I
Oh.
want that anymore, because that's a lot of pressure. And you have to kind of think about it. And especially as Cinderella is one thing, you know, to take on Cinderella and be like, oh, I have to play this girl who's like puts on shoes and, you know, has this magical moment with a fairy godmother and all this kind of stuff. That's a lot of pressure because the whole show is about you. Same thing with Annie. So if you
Yeah.
think you can handle the pressure, you got to tell me I can. But if I see you like hovering in the background and you're like, oh God, I don't know, that's
Yeah.
okay too.
Yeah.
You make however your steps are and you want to go.
Totally. And sometimes it's kind of feeling the discomfort and doing it anyway can stretch us, right?
Right.
You know, we can't grow if we don't stretch, and it hurts to stretch. Like it's
Right.
uncomfortable.
Sometimes those kids come
But
up
knowing
and they said,
yourself,
they'll tell me, I want it, Jojo. I
Yeah.
want it so bad. And I say, okay, you are a good kid. You've tried so hard. I will. And they might not be the best singer or dancer. Totally. Scouts honor.
they want it. They want it.
They want it. I give it to them. And then we have a conversation after the fact, and sometimes they want to fly and sometimes they don't want to fly. They'd rather go back into smaller roles.
Yeah. And that's okay, because if you don't experiment with it, you're really just not going to know, right? It's like, you know, doing a speech in class, or I know you guys have probably like a lot of group work in class, or even when you guys were doing tons of Zooms, you know, I was watching it, like not a lot of people were raising their hand. They didn't want to be the one to ask the question, you know? And so then one person would, and the teacher's like, yay, you know, but sometimes you just don't know until you do it. And it's okay. I think 100% to be able to say, I tried that, like I did the lead, and it just wasn't for me. It wasn't my jam. Like, cool. Now you know. And it doesn't mean that you're any less of a performer. You just are learning yourself. And you're like, wasn't as fun. Like I was nervous the whole time, or so anxious. It just wasn't as fun. So we have like 7 tips and tools that we were gonna, some more tips and tools. If you guys want to take notes, you can, but I will totally send these to Jojo.
Perfect.
And then we some questions. So we went through that. I mean, I definitely think, you know, just to recap, I think preparing for your show is really, really important. So all the things that we're talking about and all the things that you can do that can make your body feel calm and relaxed. So if you've like a special room in your house, or like a cool rocking chair, or like a hanging chair, or like a little garden, or you snuggle with your new kitty, like go to your special place, have your little soft blanket or your warm honey water or whatever it is, or run over to CVS or Marshall's and get something that smells good, or a candle. Like figure out for you what works for you. You know, if you've got a really great neighbor who's super fun, but she kind of like is a lot, like maybe you just don't hang with her that Saturday before your play. Maybe you see her on Monday. Like you just want to do all the different things to keep your body as calm as you can, because you are in control of that. You are absolutely in control of it, even though sometimes it feels like you're not. Yeah. So, okay. We're going to do like tips and tools, and I'll email these to Jojo. And then definitely ask questions if you want, or share anything, because anxiety feels different to everybody. And I love to hear, like, it's not fun, but I love to hear, like, what does it feel like to you? Because we can talk about that. Don't forget to breathe, right? Breathe, breathe, breathe. And if you're backstage and you see one of your buddies and they're looking a little nervous, or they're pacing, just say, hey, let's breathe together. Okay.
Like that.
Let's breathe together. Like, let's do box breathing, or let's do in through the nose, out through the mouth, or hey, let's go get you a ice cold glass of water. Let's go over to the fidget box, or let's go get a water, or, oh, she looks like she needs help with her costume. Let's go help her, because that keeps us busy. And so those are really good things. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Distraction. That's kind of like what we were just talking about. Walk in circles if you need to. Walk over to the bathroom. Walk over, get a water. Walk over and see a friend. Just kind of like, for me, I've done a lot of classes on anxiety. My mom had anxiety my whole life growing up. Couldn't drive on freeways, sometimes couldn't pick me up at school. So I learned a lot about it when I was really little. And I did a lot of like meditation and visualization classes. And that means just sitting and thinking about things that make you relax. And for me, it's always like the ocean. If I can just like stop and close my eyes and think about the ocean and the waves, it's very relaxing for me because no matter what stressful thing is going on, those waves just never stop. Like they always keep going. And it reminds me, I just got to keep going. But everyone has kind of like their special place. And for kids that come into counseling, like we'll try to figure out like, what is their special place, you know, and they'll close their eyes and you can kind of go to your special place, whether that's a room, whether that's your grandma's backyard or your garden or the beach or
Walking my dog.
you're walking your dog. And we could go, even when we're backstage and we're nervous, and you could close your eyes for 30 seconds and go to your special place that makes you feel good and relaxed. Your whole body can feel better. So it's kind of fun to think about what your special place might be. We talked about the ice cold water. It's huge, huge. Ice cold. And you can put it on your little pressure points, your wrists, back of your neck, bottom of your feet. Slows your heart rate, helps you to breathe better, distracts your brain. It's the best. Positive self-talk, which we talked about, helping each other out with that too. I mean, you guys are a tight-knit group, and even if you don't have a bestie at JoJo, or you've got someone sitting across from you that you don't know, you can still help each other out.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, like I've seen like a lot of like, especially in our Hey JoJo shows, like everyone, when people like get off stage, or like you did amazing, or before they go on stage, they're like, you can do it, you're so talented, like you can do this. And I think it's really cool and it really helps.
Yeah. Another thing I noticed at Aladdin, we had a lot of people, I forget what you call them, where they're dressed in black and they're helping people go.
Stage crew.
Stage crew. So, you know, I got there a little bit early sometimes, and the stage crew is also like a wonderful, wonderful, I think of them as like little special helper elves. Like
they have their meeting tomorrow just to talk about that very thing. You lift those kids up.
Man, I would sit in the back and watch the stage crew help these guys. Like they said positive things to them. They made them feel safe and comfortable and relaxed, but also they would go, no, you're going to go on stage that way, not that way. And then,
and I will tell you, Camille, not every person backstage is free of stress. So, and it's funny, I'll never forget, I had a parent once, we were doing Legally Blonde a few years back, and our hairdresser was like, you know, curling and doing all stuff and stressing my little Elle Woods out. And
totally.
Elle's mom came over and was like, hey, hairdresser, put down the curling iron, get away from my child. Let's sit and breathe and put a little essential oil. I was like, I have mad props for that mom.
Absolutely.
She was preparing her daughter to move her away from a very stressful situation. So if you see somebody kind of going off the rails, the costumer, he's got to dress 20 kids in ball gowns in 5 minutes, you know, and stuff like that. Move away from them and find a buddy. Absolutely.
Take a minute and, you know, maybe even hand them a bottle of water and walk away, but, you know, take care of yourself, because you get to, you get to take care of yourself. Okay?
You're going on stage.
Yeah.
Just stressing themselves out. So if you see somebody else going off the rails, just kind of move to your side and prepare yourself.
Yeah. And one of the other things I was thinking, because, you know, and this is just for me, because I get a little claustrophobic sometimes. So, you know, this isn't like walking around outside by yourself in Escondido, wherever we're going to be. But I noticed like with Aladdin, some of the kids would get kind of like, it was dark in there, right? We were in there for a long time. And so I would kind of say, well, why don't you, you know, grab your parent or grab a buddy, or let's just walk by the front door and get a little fresh air and have some light. Like, that's okay. You guys are not like stuck there. You don't have to sit in that dark room waiting to get on stage. Like, there's all kinds of different things that you can try. Just obviously, like, don't do it alone, and let us know. And if you need to step outside for some fresh air, you know, find someone that you trust and do that, and take care of yourself, because you don't have to feel like you have to sit in that feeling. There's all kinds of different things that you can do, but also like ask people. You know, I know one of my counseling friends was a stage crew for Aladdin. Now she herself gets stage fright, but as stage crew, she was so calming and so relaxed that all the girls were like around her, because she had such good energy, and she kept saying, great job, go off stage this way, get on stage this way. And so find your person.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's why I kind of keep the kids in stage crew, like Kira, who's a big hugger. You're going to get a lot of support there. So.
Totally. Okay, another one is called musculation. Now you could do it. You can do it standing up, sitting down. You can do it if you're in bed about to go to sleep and you're feeling nervous about something. You do it anytime. And what I do is I just gonna keep this really simple. I pretend that there's like a giant ring, like a hula hoop or a giant ring. You can maybe have it be your favorite color. For me, it might be yellow. And I just sit for a minute, even if I have to do a talk or something, and I'm not sure how I'm feeling. I just pretend like this giant ring is going over my whole body. I can do it in 10 minutes or I could do it in like 30 seconds. So it goes over my head and I relax my head, my ears, my cheeks, my eyes, my nose, my lips, my jaw. Oh my gosh, when we get stressed, we're like hold our jaws. And I just kind of sit for a minute and pretend like this whole magical ring is going over my whole body, and my shoulders then, and then it goes down my arms, my fingers, your belly, your legs, your kneecaps, your calves, all the way down to your feet and your toes. And we could do it really quick, or we can take our time. But if you can kind of do that for a second before you go on stage or anytime you want, driving, on an airplane, whatever, like in class before a test, like just pretend like this magic ring, you can look like whatever you want it to look like. This beautiful glowing magic ring is going to go from your head to your toes. And as it does that, you kind of notice the places that you might be tense and you relax those places. And it goes all the way from your head to your toes. And we'll email JoJo about that one. So that one's a fun one. Another one that helps people is counting down. So I'm nervous. I'm about to perform. I've got a few minutes. My brain is kind of going all over the place with scary thoughts about messing up or forgetting my lines or whatever it might be. And so I'm just going to count from 20 to 1, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, all the way down to 1. I could walk while I'm doing it. I could do it in my head. I could do it out loud. You can do it on your fingers. Sometimes if I have special friends in counseling that get really anxious, like before like the SATs or something, I'll say, well, try to count from like 50 to 1, like by twos. Like you can totally get your brain to have to really think about something else. And then what it's doing is your body it can't kind of be concentrating on this thing and worrying about feeling anxious over here. So it has to pick. And so counting down is a really good one. Count down from 10 to 1, or count by twos, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, just little distraction things. That's kind of
count up and then count down.
Count up, count down. So if you're backstage, you're kind of walking around, that's another fun one to do. No one has to know you're doing it. It doesn't have to really be like embarrassing, right? No one knows you're doing it, but what it's doing is it's keeping your body and your brain distracted and relaxed. So that's a fun one. We talked about visualization. So I don't know. I think for Malaya, one of her favorite places might be here at her grandma's house and riding on the quad and hanging out with the chickens.
Right now the snow.
And so when you have your special place, and even if that's your cozy bedroom with your lights or your books, or maybe it's the library. I know for my son, it's the baseball field, 100%. So go to that place in your mind, close your eyes or keep your eyes open and think about your favorite place that makes you feel good. Or maybe you visualize yourself walking on the Target, walking on the beach, or anything that makes you feel good and relax, because you get to do that. You are totally in control of your brain and you get to go to your happy place. The last one that I'll leave you with, because I don't want to give us too many things to think about, is called the 5 senses. And that's one that you can do anywhere, anytime as well. Wherever you are that you might start feeling anxious or stressed or worried or tense or yucky tummy, butterflies. It's called the 5 senses. So you just take a minute and you go through the 5 senses. What do I see right now? What do I smell right now? What can I touch? What can I hear? And what can I taste? So like maybe, I don't know, say we're backstage, even at Tech Week, because I know, sorry to throw you under the bus, like Tech Week's stressful for Malaya. Tech Week's a stressful time. I don't know if it is for you guys.
Oh yeah. Oh, when you guys walk into that stage and you see how big it is, I see the stress start to just roll off the kids.
It is.
And it's a big reveal.
It is a big reveal, and it's big in general because you guys have been practicing, at JoJo's or somewhere cozy for a really long time. You know, when I was in theater, like in high school, we practiced on the stage for 2.5 before we did our shows. Like that's just not how it is right now. So you guys are already so amazing and on top of your game, because you're walking into this and you're going to be, you know, performing on it in a week or so. So it's totally stressful, right? Why wouldn't it be? So just plan for it. Maybe we can get some relaxing music or do a little dance party, or maybe we could figure out a way to have the experience not be maybe some twinkly lights or something, that maybe that first experience, but it's totally stressful. It's a big deal.
Yeah, for me, I get very frazzled because it's like my first time seeing the stage, and then like even now I have like many lines, and like this is my brain is somewhere else, and then I'm trying to like bring my lines back and like bring these to the top of your head, and then like especially Midsummer Night Dream, I kind of freaked out a little bit, and I breathed and I was better, but like it's just a lot.
Yeah, and you also found somebody that works for Miss Jojo that is relaxing and calming to you, and you went to her and you said, I'm feeling really anxious right now, and you cried a little.
I did.
Well, sometimes when we get really anxious, we didn't talk about one of those when we were talking about what our body does, but sometimes we cry.
Yeah,
Because
I
you have
cry.
so many emotions at one time, and your body, it's like your body can't handle it and it needs to let it out. So it's okay, have a good cry. It's okay. You can go by yourself and
That
have a
makes me
good
a
cry.
lot.
You could find a friend, you could find an adult. It's okay, because sometimes after a good cry, whew, you feel really relaxed and good. And that's okay.
Totally normal. Totally normal.
Not mean there's anything wrong with you at all. Nothing. All of this. And you guys might, you know, maybe at some point you can talk to each other, talk to mom or dad or grandma or whoever you live with. Like, you might have other things that you do when you're anxious, and you think, oh my gosh, I don't cry. I do this. I get really angry, or I get really shaky. Like, talk about it, because like I said before, one of the main things I want you guys to walk away with is knowing that it is not one size fits all. Everybody feels anxiety and worry differently, and that's okay. All right. So you are perfect just the way you are. And it's just your body giving you a little warning. This is scary. This is a little scary. This is a little uncomfortable. So in a way, I try to teach some of my counseling friends. I know it sounds really crazy, but like, if we can become friends with the anxiety, be friends with the worry, you know, a lot of time it's just a warning signal for us. We're just like, we're nervous about something and our body's just telling us. So it doesn't mean that we're broken. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with us or that we're going to have it for the rest of our lives. We just have to learn how to talk to it.
Yeah.
We have to talk back to it.
I'll blame it on something else.
Yeah. And what I try to teach people too in my office is like, we can turn the volume up or turn the volume down on
really hard,
worry and anxiety. We just have to learn the tools, practice, but you don't have to.
Camille, this has been so fun. And like, I've learned a lot today. I'm so grateful. I'm going to stop recording and like, open it up and see if